So this is what you're looking at right now is Bio 155 Section 30. So if you're from Section 31, this is going to be identical to yours. So it's not going to be any different from this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on a student view so you guys can see what your page looks like, because what you were looking at was the instructor view. So a couple of things about your screen. Again, if you're new to Canvas, you have your tabs on the side for your dashboard, which shows all of your courses for an online class. You can also find all of your online classes you're enrolled in under the course option. Calendar is going to be really your big friend, and I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. Inboxes for your email. Please do not email me using inbox. The chances are I will respond to you within 48 up to 72 hours, which is typically a late response for an online class that is 5 weeks long. So I would recommend for you guys to email me using my campus email, which I have provided for you in this original announcement as well. And then on these tabs, these are going to be your friends. You have announcement section, which is basically if I have any updates for you guys, if there is a change, it will be posted under announcement. And if you have set your course under notification, you actually get an email when a new announcement is available. I would suggest for you to check this daily for this class, again, because of the speed of the class. Assignment, you really don't care about that. You're welcome to click on it. It just gives you a list of the assignments that are due, but it doesn't really give you much of the detail that you want. So it's just there, but it's not necessarily what you want to see, I guess. Grades are going to be your friends. So basically, if you want to see how well you're doing in a class, this grade book has all of the assignment for the rest of the 5 weeks. So basically anything that you will be doing in this class, it gives you exactly the points for each of the assignments, and also a really good place for you to figure out when your due dates for assignments are. So again, you can see it has the date of the assignment and the time of the assignment. The time of all of your assignments, the due date's always going to be a minute before midnight. That's how it's going to be set up. So just kind of get that in your head. And then the beginning of the assignments for anything that is lab related or Canvas posts. So labs and Canvas posts are open to you until the due time. Things like your exam are not, lab exam and lecture exams are only available for the day that the assignment is due. So it's not going to be open for a long period of time. It's open only for one day. For all of your lecture exams and your lab exams, the due date is from 8 a.m. on that day until midnight. So you have about, I guess, 16 hours to complete your exam. And I'll go over that in just a minute in more detail. People option that you see here is going to give you the groups that you are part of. So right here, let's say if I click on group, you have week 1, group 1, week 2, etc. I should say week 1, and then these are your groups basically. If you want to figure out what your groups are for your lab activity, basically the people option is where you go to find out who your group members are. My goal is that I don't want to change groups as we progress through the course. However, depending on how many people may find this class difficult and end up dropping it, or depending on if they want to participate in a class or participate in an activity, the groups may change as we progress through the course. But my goal is to keep the same group for the rest of the semester, rest of the session, because people are more comfortable working with the same people, again, since especially this class is such a short class. Can I answer any questions so far for you guys before we move forward? You can unmute yourself and ask a question. You guys good? Okay.
I had a question.
Sure.
So since there are groups for every week, would there be like weekly projects, or is it mainly for just assignments?
You don't have any weekly project. So the only, and I put that in quote, weekly projects would be your lab assignments, and they are actually daily, not weekly. So if you look, for instance, and I'll show you one of the assignments you guys are supposed to do. It's your first lab, which is the homeostasis lab. It's due, I believe, by Thursday, and that's a group assignment. So basically, you will be getting hold of your group members, I would say, hopefully by the end of today. So you will have the whole day tomorrow and the day after to complete your lab assignment. But what I'm showing you in this page for the people and the groups are only for what is labeled as group lab assignments. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that is. Thank you.
Okay. Nothing else here is essential for you other than the module portion. So if you click on the module, it basically gives you the breakdown that you have for the course. And it's the same thing as your homepage when you log into the course as well. So you really don't need to go click on the module to find this information. You can just click on the homepage. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we basically have here. So on your right side of the screen, it tells you the assignments that are going to be due sometime soon. So it goes up to July 9 as far as the deadline. So it's a good way for you guys to track to see what assignments are going to be or needed to be completed within the next few days. Right here on the top, you have basically the announcement for Bio 155. If you haven't looked through it, here it's what it looks like. It just basically gives you some information about how to navigate the course. It's very similar to what I'm doing for you right now. However, you are welcome to go and take a look at it again. I believe I cover everything again here. If you are new to an online class, it is a good idea for you guys to review this and kind of get an idea of what is the expectation of you. Here is other information that helps you succeed for the Bio 155. Not everything applies here. For instance, the office hours, etc., doesn't apply. However, most of the phone numbers and accessing the SPS and exam, etc., still applies. So you're welcome to look through that as well. And then the important document that we have is your syllabus. If you haven't taken a look at that, please do so. It has basically my information in terms of my email address. The response time for the email address is about 24 hours. Please do keep that in mind. This is not a text response. So I usually respond to you if you, for instance, respond to me in the morning, email me in the morning, I respond to you by night because that's the time I'm free. However, if you respond to me, let's say by midnight, don't expect a response back immediately. Usually probably take me up to 24 hours to respond. And then for our class, I usually don't check my email Friday, Saturday, Sundays because you guys don't have any assignments due those days. I do try to keep an eye on the email, but I usually try to avoid answering them because it's summertime and I do need my free time, I guess, if you want to say. This is kind of a breakdown as far as what your course objectives are. And then you have your textbook. I got a few emails about where can I buy the textbook, etc. Anytime you guys see the word OER, it basically stands for Open Educational Resources, which means you don't require to purchase a textbook. What you do need to do is just click on the link and it will take you to a textbook. I am letting you know right now, material that is in that textbook is not detailed. It's not something that I use or rely to come up with exam questions for you. You want to kind of focus on what I'm telling you later on in this recording as far as what you need to do well in the class. However, some of the students still like to have access to a book, either be electronic or you want to print it, that's fine. And you can access it by clicking on this link here. And I had some students saying that this is not working. I tried it, I copied it, and I clicked on it for both ways. It worked. You just need to download the PDF file. However, if you do have a difficulty still doing so, email me and I can send you a PDF version of that. But again, it's not going to really help you do well in a class unless you follow what I'm actually going to tell you in a few minutes. Any questions so far, guys, before I forget? We'll move on. Nothing, you're good? Don't be shy. Okay, so as I said before, your lecture and lab.
Question.
Yes.
So you're saying most of the information is going to be what you tell us. So are your lectures recorded? Is that going to be weekly?
Yeah, I'll show you what that means in just a few minutes. So
Okay.
I'll show you where you can find the course material on a daily basis, not a weekly basis, but daily basis. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go over that in just a minute. Sure. So for your lecture and lab exams, as I mentioned before, on the day of the exam, they're open up at 8 a.m. until midnight, basically. If you decide to take the exam, let's say at 11:30 p.m. the day of the exam, and the exam time is an hour and a half, you will still only have half an hour to take the exam, guys, because regardless of the assigned time for the exam, let's say an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever the time is, if it passed the 11:59 mark, it will automatically lock you out of the system. So make sure you give yourself plenty of time to finish the exam before you reach 11:59 p.m. So do keep that in mind. The other thing that's really important for me, and you can see that always when you start the exam, is please make sure you're using the Chrome browser when you guys are opening up your exam, especially for the lab exam. Sometimes when you open the exam in things like Firefox, Internet Explorer, or Safari, these are the three main ones. The images for your lab does not load properly, which means you will not be able to answer those questions. And if you're using any other browser and basically you come up with this question, I will not be able to accommodate you. So make sure that your Chrome is the applicable browser for this course. You have the breakdown for your course in terms of grading. You have your Canvas courses, you have your quizzes. This says lecture and lab quizzes. It says there are 3 of them, they're 10 points, and I believe that still applies. I think there was a difference in the original syllabus that I posted, but there's only 3 quizzes that you need to complete. Each of them are 10 points. You have assignments that are, again, completed either individually or as a group. There's 16 of them for the duration of the 5 weeks, add up to 80 points, and 3 lab exam ranging between 40 to 50 points for a total of 120 to 150 points. The breakdown for the course is pretty simple. So anything above 90 is an A, anything above 80 is a B, etc. So you break that down. Every 10 percentile will drop you 1 letter grade. I do strongly suggest for you guys, if you do have a problem and something comes up and you will not be able to complete the lecture or lab exam, and I mean really serious problem like health issues, accidents, hospitalizations, anything that is major enough that prevents you from completing your lecture or lab exam, you need to let me know within 24 hours so I can accommodate you for the missed exam. And that's a case-to-case basis. So let's say you tell me, oh, I forgot to take the exam. Can you open the exam for me? And the answer is no. You're responsible for the due dates. So don't forget to take your exam. Keep an eye on the deadline so you make sure that the exams are completed. So we're talking about major issues that prevent you from completing your exam within that 16-hour window that you have. And you need to notify me as soon as possible. Lab assignments, again, this is basically the group assignments. What I have listed for you here is the guidelines for how you will do a group assignment and how you get access to your group mates. And again, I'll talk about that as we go through the lab assignments, but this is more for your notes later on if you have any questions. And then we go over the lab submission. Course etiquettes, please, when you email me, clarify what class you belong to. Are you section 30 or 31, which is listed on the top of your page? Because they literally simply, I'll just email you back and say what section you belong to. So you just wasted your time waiting for a response. So clarify what section you belong to make the job a little bit easier in terms of me finding and answering your question. Final grade for this course, please do not email me on the day that I'm trying to post the final grades to ask for leniency. Whatever you get is basically based on the effort you put on the class. So if your grade is not what you expected, that's not something that I can resolve basically. There are extra credit built into both your lecture and your lab exam. And there is a Canvas post, I believe, and a lab assignment at the end of the semester that are extra credit. Those are the only extra credits that are offered for the course. So if you ask for individual extra credit, that's not going to happen. So please do keep that in mind that at the end of the day, you are responsible for your grade. And if you do email me regarding improving your grade by giving you extra credit, the answer for that would be still no. So academic, honestly, the biggest thing that I have problems with is cheating in the exam by copying and pasting things from Google in both your assignments as well as your exams. Please don't do that. You get a 0, and if it happens multiple times, I will be reporting you to the department chair and the dean. You don't know the answer, leave it blank, but don't copy and paste from other resources. And then if you are a DSPS student or need further accommodation, which in our online class right now, the only accommodation I can provide is the extra time. Please make sure you have all of your documents in before your first lecture exam, which is the first exam you will be taking for this course. So I can accommodate you for that extra time. And then Success Center, I believe they are open. You can contact them using the phone number that's here or visit their website to get more information if you do need additional help. Okay, questions, clarification on anything so far? Good. Okay, I'm doing the time. Okay. So here is a few points about your course. For your lecture exams and lecture exams only, you will have a study guides. They're broken down by exams. You're welcome to use this as a guideline for what to study for the exam and how to prepare. They're really good documents. I do recommend for you guys to refer to these again while you're preparing for your lecture exams. Lab exams, because they're basically going to be almost for 80% of the material would be identification. And then you really don't need a study guides. It's just that you need to know the terminology. And for that, you need to refer to each of the individual labs that you complete. There is no study guides. If the study guides will be there, it's just literally would be a list of vocabulary, which you already have as part of your lab assignments. So please don't email me later on as we go through the course asking for a lab study guide, because that will not be provided. But again, your lecture exam is there, and you guys, I would strongly advise for you guys to use it as a study material while you're preparing for each of your exams. Now, going to answer your question in terms of the recording and the material for the course. This is basically what you guys are going to be looking at. What I've done for you guys is I broke down your course to units. Units are basically what you will be covering for each of your lecture exam. So when it says unit 1, that simply means what will be covered for your lecture exam 1. Unit 2, lecture exam 2, etc. So unit 1 covers 5 days. Today is day 1 basically. So let's click on that and see what you basically need to be completing for today. So at the beginning, it gives you a little bit of focused information in terms of what you will be discussing for today's class. It will further go into the activities and the video recording that you guys need to be watching for today. So for instance, it says complete the icebreaker with the initial post due at 7/7 and the final response to your peers by 7/9 by 11:59 p.m. So all I'm going to do as a student, I'm going to click on the assignment. It's going to take you to the assignment. It's going to provide you with the detail. And when you read this, it's basically, I'm telling you, write a paragraph about yourself, something interesting about yourself, and then give me an image or quote that is basically your favorite. You do need to complete this by 7/7, which is, I believe, is tomorrow by midnight. All you need to do is click on the reply and type your response there. As soon as you type your response, then it shows the other student responses to you, and you can complete the second part of the assignment, which is basically find 2 of your classmates that also has completed the assignment and introduce yourself to them and explain why that post was exciting or interesting to you. It is a way, as the name applies, for you guys to get introduced to your classmates. I do suggest for you guys, if you want to do this assignment and you want to kind of figure out who is in your group and learn more about your group mates, then you can contact the people that are in your groups. So kind of, as the assignment name is an icebreaker. So it helps you figure out how you will be working with for your group assignments. So let me go back to your module for day 1 again. So the second thing it says download and a review of the PowerPoint. So this is a PowerPoint that I would normally be providing for you guys for the class. This is the one that I would basically base my in-class lecture on. So if you click on this, let's say it opens it. If you click on the little arrow on the side, you can download the PowerPoint, which is what I actually recommend. So you can go through the PowerPoint. It goes through definitions, and basically what you need to know for this lab. Now, this is what's really important for you guys. And this is what a lot of the students miss and therefore don't do well in the class. If you want to do well in the course for preparation for your exams, first of all, I do strongly recommend for you guys to download the PowerPoint that is due for that day. And then when you finish downloading, what you want to do is go down to the YouTube videos that are available for you guys. So if I click and open the first YouTube video, do you guys still see my screen for the YouTube video? I don't know if you are seeing this.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, so see it says Introduction to Anatomy Physiology. This is going to be literally identical to the PowerPoint. So it is as I'm standing in front of you doing the lecture on the PowerPoint that you have. So don't ignore the recording and assume that everything you need to learn is in your lecture PowerPoint. About 60% of the material is in your lecture PowerPoint. The other 40% is part of what I actually lecture. So if you're relying heavily on the PowerPoint and assuming that you can answer all the questions in the exam by just simply knowing the PowerPoint, the answer will be no. You're probably going to do about 60 to 70% in the exam. So you really want to focus on the recording that are associated with each. They're typically, I have them between 25 to 30 minutes. There are, of course, exceptions. But for instance, for today's class, if I go back, you have 2 recordings. The first one, as I showed you, is 28 minutes, and the second one is 13 minutes. So that's basically less than an hour of recording for your class. This is what you guys need to complete for today's class in terms of you preparing as an individual, you preparing to complete the assignment for today. Okay, next, let me go over. By the way, is there any question, any clarification or anything for you guys so far in terms of navigating the material?
I have a question.
Sure.
You said that Unit 1 would be Exam 1, right?
Right.
Is there ever going to be any information from Unit 1 that's going to go on Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4?
No, we don't have a cumulative course. So whenever you finish basically with one unit, you're done with that unit. You were never going to revisit that. That applies for both your lecture exam and your lab exam. So whatever is covered on your lab exam 1, you're done with that material. Then your lab 2, for instance, or your lecture exam 2 is basically where we picked up from the previous exam.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anything else, guys? Any other questions?
I'm sure you already answered this, but I just wanted to make sure I would be doing this correctly. So for the paragraph that we were supposed to write about ourselves, So I know we're supposed to write it in that um within the day one icebreaker, but where exactly would we type it? Is it like a Google
Oh, so
Doc?
here, so if this is your assignment, right? See the reply button on the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
If I click on this, it actually opens a box for you. You can type your answer
Oh.
here and then post a reply.
Okay, and so we would be able to view everybody else's replies down there too,
Yeah,
right?
so look, so if I do this, let's say I have typed my response and I'm gonna delete this later on. So I'm gonna say post a reply, right? So as soon as I post my reply, I see other people's reply.
Okay.
Okay, so now when I done mine, what I want to do is I respond to two of my classmates, right? So let's say, I don't know if Jennifer is here, but let's say Jennifer, right? So I want to respond to Jennifer, say, oh, this is interesting. She wrote some interesting thing. I'm going to go to her at the bottom corner and said, click on the reply and then reply to her. And just for the second part, responding to my peers, then you go to this part. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Maybe I should delete that, but I can't delete this because I'm a student now, so. Anyways. So let me go over the second part of the class, or the second day of the class, which is basically the lab you guys are going to be doing as groups. So I'm going to walk you guys through that step by step to make sure everybody feel comfortable to getting hold of their classmates, how to do the complete assignment and how to submit it. So when you guys, again, like the first day, you have a PowerPoint. So that's your PowerPoint for that day. Again, click on the arrow on the side to download your file into your computer rather than just having it open directly into your page. There are two PowerPoint recording or video recording for that you can find. You do have a quiz. And again, look, if you look at the date for the quiz, it's listed as tomorrow. Sorry, it's for your assignment for tomorrow, but then you have 24 hours to complete it. So it's not due on tomorrow by the end of the day, it's due the day after tomorrow by the end of the day. Hopefully that makes sense. So you have basically 24 hours from the day that it's posted to complete the assignment. So this is day 2, correct? So your group lab assignment, which is the one that's listed for tomorrow, is not due tomorrow, it's due the day after tomorrow at midnight. So I says this is a group activity, and I usually don't have this detail. All you need to look at is this word right here. And I try to bold it so you guys can see that the group activity, it's a group or individual activity. So let me click on this and show you what this looks like. So basically this is your lab. So it says this is a group lab work, and I done that for the first week to make sure everybody is already in the habit of figuring out what is group, what is individual, and it's not to be submitted individually. So here is the introduction for that lab. You guys as an individual or you decide as a group, read them together, make sure you're comfortable with the information. Then you go down and you watch the video. So it's basically how to measure your radial pulse, which is part of the lab for this lab, and then how to calculate the 3 ways of basically calculating your data or figuring or analyzing your data, which is how to calculate mean, mode, and median. So you can take a look at this. I do recommend for you guys be very comfortable with these calculations because you are expected to do this calculation for your lab exam. So don't assume that this is not going to be part of your lab exam. And if one member of your group has done it, then you're good, you don't need to learn it. No, each of you guys need to know how to do this because at the end of the day, these questions will be part of your lab exam. You do have a graphing as part of this lab. So this one shows you how to do the graphing online, using Excel, and how to do the calculation and means and a standard deviation as well. I am going to tell you right now, I don't expect you guys to learn how to use Excel. If a member of your group knows how to use Excel, perfect. If you don't have anybody that doesn't know how to Excel, you don't want to spend the time to learn how to do Excel, you are welcome to do a hand-drawn graph of the information. I am not forcing you to learn Excel on the first day of your class. So you can do a hand-drawn graph for this lab to kind of put you at ease in terms of stressing out about Excel graphing. So what you're going to do, and this could be one member of your group that you can discuss who that person is. They're going to basically take the parts that are the data that you need to collect and questions that you need to answer. And I'm just going to highlight them. It's like literally a copy and paste. So you're going to highlight all of this information, okay? You're going to copy it and you're going to paste it into a Word document. Please, please do not use Pages. Even though I have Pages, it is difficult for me to grade them directly into the in Canvas. I need to download the assignment and then grade it. So do not use Pages. If you are the person that has Pages, please use somebody that has the Word document, not Pages. If you don't know what Pages is, it's basically the Microsoft Word of Mac. Sometimes I forget you might not be comfortable with Mac. So let's say I assume I have copied and pasted the data that, the charts and the questions that I have here in a Word document. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide the work between your group members. So we already figured out how to do a group, right? How to figure out who your group members are. So let's say you are in contact with them. The way you're going to break it down, you say, okay, you as a group member do question 1 through 4. I'll do question 5 through 10, etc. So let's say I am the member that this part of the data has come up to me that I need to collect. So it says body temperature. So hopefully every single person in this class, or everybody actually, has a thermometer in their house, right? To measure their body temperature if they have fever or not. It doesn't matter. So whoever volunteered to collect body temperature is going to do that measurement 10 times every minute. So minute 1, minute 2, minute 3, minute 4. 1 minute intervals for 10 minutes. You're going to collect that data. And when you have that data, you're going to share that data with your classmates. So you're not going to keep the data to yourself and each person just collect a piece of the data and submit that as their final work. You're going to have one final document that has all of the data and all of the questions answered, and the lab is a fully completed lab ready for submission. So I've done my part. I've done this part. I came up with the 10 numbers, and then I use the data as an individual to do the calculation and come up with the, what is this one? The mean of the data. I've done the calculation and I came up with the median, and I have come down with the mode. And I have answered my question. Now I want to make sure that my classmate that is going to do the final submission has access to this document. So I'm going to forward it to them and to the rest of the group that are part of my group, or group mates, I guess I should say. The next person is going to answer this question. So they're going to complete their part, etc., etc. Now, before I move on, the easiest way for you guys to complete these documents is using a Google Drive and share the same document with the rest of your group members. So if there is a modification in your data, or as you add information to that, then it is automatically updated. So by the time everybody is done, you have a final product. That's the easiest way to do it. Another way to do it is figure out one member in your class, or in your group, I should say, that is going to be responsible for collecting data from everybody. So when you do your piece, they're going to take that piece and put it in one document, and everything goes into one final document, and that document is going to be submitted. It is not my concern how you guys approach it. Some people are not comfortable with the Google Drive, and therefore they don't want to use it. They just want to do their part and pass it to their group member. Some people want to be leaders and they want to submit the final work, then go for it. I really don't care how you guys, and by not caring, I mean, it's not my concern how you do the work, as far as the final work is done and one final document is submitted to your lab, because that document is going to be submitted for every member that is listed in that group. Are you with me so far? Is there a question? And the lab group can be a little bit confusing.
I have a question, but it doesn't have anything to do with submitting it. I just have a question. What if one of our group members or some of our group members are unresponsive?
Okay, so really great question. So what I tell the students is when you guys complete your lab, so let me backtrack. So we went to people to figure out who your group members are, right? So let's say, and this is, let's say the first 5 people in this list are my group members, right? What I'm going to do to contact these people is I'm going to go to my inbox for initial contact, guys, because you really don't have any information about these students, right? For the initial contact, the best way is to go to your inbox. And I can't do this here because it's going to deny my access. So leave a student view. So I'm going to go to my inbox and I'm going to compose an email. Okay. So let's say a student of mine, a group member of mine named Nancy, right? That's the first name that comes up to my thing. So I'm going to go to my favorite class, go to the section, and I'm going to type their name. Okay. The name is going to automatically pop. It's not going to give you the email address. It's not going to give you any detail. It just say, if you want to email this person, here is how you're going to do it. And then just type a subject. And I said, introduce yourself and say, this is this person. I wanted to get a hold of you. You're part of our group, etc. If you want to give my phone number, email address, whatever is your mean of communication, go ahead and do that, send it, and wait for the response. I recommend for you guys to, if you're taking the initiative to contact your group mate, is to contact all of them at once. So type all of their names into one email and then send it so they can also reply to all of you guys at the same time. So you guys basically get bundled up together. When you guys are done the initial contacting, then you're welcome to use any means of communication that works for your group and for your group members to send the information and create that final document. Okay. So if that be the chat box, if it would be the Pronto option, I don't know if any of you guys use it, the Pronto option down here, if it's a discussion board, whatever works for you, Zoom meetings, FaceTime, doesn't matter what it is. Now, as you were asking, Kimberly, I believe, let's say a group member doesn't respond. What you're going to do is you're gonna email me as your instructor, not using the Canvas email. Remember, you're gonna use the, what do you call it? The My Campus email address, and include all of the members that have participated. So you're gonna CC basically all of the members that have participated in the lab. And it said, as a group, everybody in this email participated minus this individual. Okay. So when I get that email, what I would basically do is I will take the member name off of the group. So they basically will not get the submission of the lab, and they also will not receive credit. So typically what I do is I have multiple people that are not participating. I bundle them all in one group, and that's basically going to be the group of their own. But if it happens once and they didn't do it, then that's fine. I can just take them off for that assignment. But I do recommend for you guys, as soon as possible, if these people are not communicating, is to get a hold of me. I can contact them and see if they do respond, but don't wait till the last minute to contact them, say, oh, they didn't respond to me. And they need to be taking initiatives as well. So if they're not doing that, then it is something that you as a group member and I as an instructor need to be aware of. So again, the best way to do it, email me, CC all of the people that are participating actively in the assignment. So I know that all of you guys share the same sentiment about the non-active member, and then send an email to me and I will remove that individual from your group. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and
Okay.
then if you do remove them, that means that the rest of the group has to finish the missing part that that person didn't do, right?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yes. So that's what I'm saying. You guys do need to get a hold of these individuals. And the reason, the good thing about this class is that all of your assignments are open right now. So you don't have to wait till the last minute to submit this. So a lot of these assignments, you can start the process and tell them that this is your part, like start breaking down your labs even for next week. Or sorry, don't do the next week because I don't know what's going to happen next week. But for, let's say, for Thursday assignments that are going to be due on Friday. So you got an idea of if these people are actually responding to you, if they're participating actively or not. Okay.
I'm sorry, I logged on a little late. how are the groups going to be divided, or how do I know which group I'm in?
You go under people and you click on the people, and then you have the group. It says week 1, and then those are the people that are going to be under your group.
Okay, so every week we're going
option.
to be in a different group?
Yeah, so if it says it's a group assignment, this is how you find out who your group members are, by clicking on the people option and go to your groups. And yours is going to be different because this is, again, even though I'm not I'm in a student view, I'm an instructor, so my view is different than yours. But yours
Okay.
would just have the group for the week 1 and have the 5 or 4 members that are going to be in your group.
Okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Yep, and then again, contact them through the inbox by typing their name to figure out who those individuals are and get a hold of them. Okay, so let's go back to the assignment again. So we're gonna go to day 2. So let's say you guys completed this assignment. What you do is at the end, sorry, I should go on the top. It says start assignment. So it says, keep in mind this submission will count for everybody in your week 1 group. So basically, it means that if one member of your group do a submission, nobody else needs to do it. So if you have 5 members, choose one member as your leader, as your group leader, whatever person to submit, and then they're going to be responsible for that submission. So all you need to do is basically go say upload the file, choose a file where that file is, and then again, select it and open it. And as soon as you submit it, I don't want to like do this, but let's say do this. This is my assignment. You can add a comment here as a reminder. Let's say a group member again wasn't active. Send an email to me and says this person did not participate in this activity, okay? Or in this group activity. And that's a reminder for me when I grade them to make sure that they have been removed from the group. And then submit the assignment, submit the final assignment. I do recommend for you guys to make sure that the final submission is done once, because there are limits in terms of how many times you can submit the assignment. Typically, it's twice that you can submit the assignment. You can also submit assignment through Google Drive, but it's not always, that option is not always there for you guys. So easiest way is to save your document as either a doc, end, or a PDF file, and then submit that document by attaching the document here. Is this making sense so far? Any question? Okay. The couple last things that I want to talk to you guys about is your calendar option. This is going to be your basically butter and bread in terms of keeping up with the schedule of the class. So right here, for instance, you have the office hours. So if you click on this, if you didn't know that, basically it will give you a link for the office hours. It's not showing up here because basically I attached the link for you guys in your announcement section. So it doesn't show it up for today. See, it says introduction to AP, right? If I click on it, look what it tells me. It tells me the detail. This is a 5-question quiz. It's about the introduction to anatomy, physiology. Ignore the due date here because this is from my old class, but you can see actually, let me do this for you guys because it's easier. So let me click on this. Sorry, I'm just gonna go to the assignment section and show you this. So if you're looking at the introduction to anatomy and physiology, I can just simply click on this. See up here, it says July 8th at 11:59 p.m. is the due time. It is available until then. So I didn't basically limit you guys in terms of when you can take the quiz. I put the due date on that. It tells you the limit in terms of the time. And again, ignore the date. There's too many dates I needed to update, and I guess I missed some of them. And as soon as you click take the quiz, guys, it takes you to the quiz and you cannot go back. So don't click on this button until you're ready to take it. All of your lecture exams and your quizzes can be submitted once. So make sure you click on this when you are ready to complete the assignment. Again, let's go back to the calendar option. Here is the lab.
And the exam are both timed, right?
I'm sorry?
The quiz and the exam are both timed.
Correct. The exam time, depending on the length, are different. So they typically range from 60 minutes to 95 minutes, 90 to 95 minutes. It literally depends on the difficulty of the questions, how many questions are multiple choice versus how many you actually need to write an answer. So those are things that I have considered when I set up a time for an exam. But yes, they are all time.
Okay. And does the quiz and the exam tell us how we did at the end of the?
They do, however, in many cases, that number is not going to be accurate because there are questions that I need to still go back and grade. So as soon as I finish the grading, then you do get a notification on your Canvas. If you do have the Canvas app installed on your phone, it does give you a notification as far as how you did in the course, sorry, in that exam. But it does give you an initial grade, but that's not going to be the final grade until I grade all of the questions.
Okay, thank you.
So again, the due dates for the assignments, even though you don't have a class on Friday, I am basically giving you an extra day to complete the assignments that are due on Thursday. So basically, again, kind of thinking about this, the lab that you are assigned to for Thursday will be due on midnight on Friday. So that kind of gives you a deadline. And you also have a Canvas post. Another place that, again, you guys want to look at your deadlines. This is also a really cool place that you can go to, is if I backtrack to my original page. If you click on the syllabus option, I'm going to scroll down. This is another place that you guys can find the deadline for all of your assignments. So office hours, introduction to anatomy physiology. When is it due? It's due by 11:59 p.m. on July 8th. So this is another breakdown for you guys when exactly each of your assignments due. What I tell my students to make your life easier if you want to keep a deadline is literally, I guess, copy and paste it, print this part of the page with the due dates of the assignment so you can keep a track of all of your assignments that are due. I think that's all I need you guys to know for the class, unless there's any particular question you guys have for me that I haven't answered, that you really feel like you need to know before you do well in the class. No, no questions.
Oh, for the office hours, are they only on Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday from 7 to 8 a.m. You can, let me clarify. So the best way of communicating with me, because again, it's a shortcut class, is to email me, and I am going to respond to, even if it's related to a content that is presented to you, I'd be happy to answer those questions. If by any chance you can make it to the office hours and you have this deadly desire to ask me a bunch of questions, then email me and I can set up a 10 to 15 minute time Zoom meeting with you with a personalized link that you can come in, or as a group, you can send me a link and come in and participate. But it usually turnaround time for that is 24 to 48 hours for me to set up a Zoom meeting for you. But yes, because this is a summer class, that is the requirement for, as an instructor, for us to have office hours once a week minimum. So that's what I chose. But again, if you guys do need additional time, I can set up individual meetings with you guys to go over the content. Yes.
I have a question. So it's a fast class, and it looks like the assignments are due the next day. So what if somebody drops the class? Will be notified that someone dropped the class, or
So
how do we know?
Are you worried about in terms of your lab assignment?
The lab assignments and working with the group.
So that's what I was telling you guys. Try to get a hold of your classmates sooner than later, and don't wait till the last minute to start a lab assignment. Honestly, that has never been an issue for me, except once last year that a student dropped and they didn't complete the part. If that is the case, you can send me an email and I can be a little more lenient with that part of the submission until you guys actually do submit that part. But honestly, for this class, and especially when it comes to the group assignments, the key is always going to be communication. Yet it be communicating with your classmate or communicating with me. So let's say that does happen, Jessica, and you guys couldn't get a hold of the member dropped. Send me an email and said, we already submitted our part. Always submit the assignment, even though that student didn't respond to you guys. And then we're gonna submit the other part. How much deadline? Well, what is our new deadline for that new part? Okay, but try to submit. No, not try to submit the parts that you guys have completed, and then leave the part that depends on the member that has dropped separately, and then email me about that change so I can give you an extension on that section of the lab.
Okay,
Okay, does
Thank
that
you.
answer your question?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
But again, it hasn't really been an issue because a lot of people honestly drop at the weekend where there is like basically a change in terms of the class dynamics. So, and during the weekend, there is no assignment due. So we usually, you do notice that. So stay in communication with your classmate. That's the easiest way. Anything else, guys? Any other question? Ask them now before we end the session. Don't be shy. No?